Great news.
What?
The Dacia Sandero is almost here.
When?
Next year.
Great. Now, the Toyota Urban Cruiser...
Oh, bad news.
What?
The Dacia Sandero. It's delayed.
Oh, no. Anyway, last week...
Great news.
What?
The Dacia... I know what it is.
Picture this. 3 gentlemen bound not by their impeccable taste in cars, but also by a proclivity for wild antics, destined to redefine automotive television. Enter Jeremy Clarkson, Richard Hammond, and James May, a trio whose fiery beginnings sparked a revolution. The British motoring scene welcomed these lads with open arms, possibly because they were unpredictable as the weather in London. Their first foray into this adrenaline-fueled world wasn't all screeching tires and celebratory donuts. It was built on an aura of enthusiasm so electrifying it could probably jumpstart a dead battery. The palpable excitement made even the dullest of cars seem like they were auditioning for a role in a Michael Bay movie. While others might have been content with a smooth ride, these trailblazers were set to change the auto world, replacing any polished notions of car reviews with screeching tires and sarcastic repartee. The uninitiated might have asked, can cars truly be entertaining? The trio answered with a collective roar of engines and laughter, proving that while torque and horsepower are essential, so too are humor and daredevil stunts. With episodes featuring everything from races against fighter jets to caravanning misadventures, their journey wasn't short of jaw-dropping moments. Each segment was a testament to their refusal to follow the beaten path, preferring instead to create a chaotic symphony of revving engines and laughter that resonated deeply with the viewers. The dynamic between Jeremy's brash opinions, Richard's relentless energy, and James's calm demeanor only added layers to their on-screen personas, enhancing their appeal. Metaphorically speaking, they didn't just shift gears, they transformed the way people looked at automotive shows. Their camaraderie paired with a blatant disregard for convention meant the audience was always in for an unpredictable ride, laughing through every twist and turn. It wasn't long before their show became a global phenomenon, creating a loyal fan base that transcended age and geography. The allure wasn't solely about cars, but also about the sheer joy of watching 3 friends go on extraordinary adventures together, showcasing that sometimes the journey is far more important than the destination. And just like that, 3 men and a million motoring mishaps steered into the hearts of car enthusiasts worldwide. Once upon a time, in a land where tea flows more freely than petrol, 3 chaps banded together with a common mission to make cars not just a thing that goes vroom, but a tale that goes boom. This British trio, whose names we whisper in awe, Clarkson, Hammond, May, embarked on a journey to transform everything from rusty heaps to road royalty. Starring with rust buckets that looked as if they had been pulled out of the pits of despair, the trio had an uncanny knack for seeing potential where others saw scrap. For them, a dent wasn't a flaw, but a conversation starter, a piece of automotive character waiting to be unleashed. They caressed these desperate machines back into life, turning horror shows into showstoppers. And let's not forget those moments where they'd creatively modify a car, attaching bits and bobs till the poor vehicle looked like it had raided a DIY store on meth. As they moved from the derelict to the divine, they didn't just upgrade vehicles. They unlocked the mysteries of engineering with the finesse of master watchmakers. It's almost as if they held the key to the automotive Pandora's box. Behold, the engineering wizardry, nitrogen-powered cars, amphibious vehicles, and so many rocket boosters. They made us question if the cars came with a NASA certification. They turned mechanics into magic tricks, making viewers wonder if Hogwarts had opened a branch for automotive engineering. Let's not forget the sheer automotive magic that punctuated every episode. Whether they were racing across continents in supercars that could turn a monk into a speed demon or transferring secondhand jalopies into impeccable stretch limos, the trio created moments that were nothing short of automotive sorcery. You could almost hear a choir of angels whenever they unveiled their next, often ludicrous vehicular invention. Each insane road trip, each ridiculous challenge, we were with them through every gear shift, pothole, and exploded engine. Their infectious enthusiasm made even the least Petrol head of us care deeply about torque, aerodynamics, and, heaven forbid, the intricacies of a limited slip differential. With every car they touched, the Brits proved that the journey could be as exhilarating as the destination, often more so. If there ever were a Shakespeare of steering wheels, a Picasso of petrol heads, or a Mozart of motorheads, it had to be our favorite British trio. But it wasn't just their love for roaring engines that kept us reveling in our living rooms. No, it was their crackling humor that made them legends. The golden trifecta of unscripted laughter, slapstick, sarcasm, and occasionally a vehicle that completely falls apart. Remember those rib-tickling moments where Jeremy Clarkson would bellow, "How hard can it be?" just before an automotive disaster unfolded. The phrase stuck like super glue on a car hood, delighting fans and, let's be honest, fueling countless memes across the internet. Catchphrases like Jeremy Clarkson's "loser," Richard Hamlin's "I've crashed again, haven't I?" and James May's exasperated "oh cock" became the soundtrack of joyrides from the safety of our couches. Honestly, you'd think they rehearsed this stuff, but no, this hilarity was delivered straight from the chassis. These automotive jesters didn't just sprinkle a bit of humor, they saturated the air with it, like exhaust smoke in a burnout competition. It wasn't just the one-liners, it was the perpetual engine of comedy that never, ever stalled. For instance, who can forget when James May attempted to fix a broken-down car in Bolivia using just a pocket knife and duct tape? Pure comedy gold, wrapped in sheer automotive lunacy. They turned ordinary car challenges into sitcom episodes where exploding caravans and falling off mountains weren't just possibilities, they were guaranteed. Richard Hammond's countless near misses and almost headlines might have made us gasp, but they also had us rolling in the aisles. And what about Jeremy Clarkson's infamous inability to park a car without causing minor collateral damage? Absolute chaos, yet captivatingly hysterical. The humor engine that drove this trio wasn't just efficient, it was high performance and finely tuned. They masterfully mixed mischief, mayhem, and motor mania, ensuring that we'd be back for another lap of laughter. Because in their world, the punchline was always as important as the horsepower. And boy, did they deliver both in spades. When we're talking about these revered British petrol heads, think less about softly purring engines and more about double the TNT and laughter. Breaking boundaries and windows is practically a prerequisite for these gearheads. Their vehicular vandalism wasn't just about pushing cars fast, they were pushing the limits of sanity. We're talking about turning cars into convertibles with a chainsaw or daring to launch a Robin Reliant into space. Because why just drive a car when you can get it airborne and worry NASA in the process? Remember the time they transformed a Toyota Hilux into an unbreakable, unkillable truck? Dropped from dizzying heights, submerged in deep waters, and indeed set on fire, that resilient beast just kept going. Then there's the amphibious car challenge where they collectively asked, what if cars could swim? Just like their jaded owners wished on their commute. Predictably, their creations were more about sinking than swimming, leading to Britain's unexpected entry into the Guinness World Record section for cars most likely to become submarines by accident. The favorite explosive moments? Well, pick any episode and you'd see more pyrotechnics than the 4th of July in the States. How about the time They ignited an entire caravan, celebrating the end of its lumbering existence in a fireball that would make any two action heroes jealous. Or when they created car caravans, humorously forgetting every fundamental rule about vehicular engineering, subsequently causing carnage on the roads. Turning rational designs into cautionary tales became their forte. And the auto community's reactions were nothing short of epic. Traditional gearheads oscillated between deep admiration and utter horror. "They've ruined another classic," cried purists, while others lauded them for making the otherwise staid auto review shows a roller coaster blend of mayhem and mirth. Love them or loathe them, the trio shenanigans turned the somewhat sleepy auto world upside down, showering it with a blend of satire and accelerant. Their misadventures didn't stop at the combustion engines, though. Nope. They took their antics to the skies with a series of do-it-yourself aviation projects that made even seasoned pilots break out in a cold sweat. Remember the time they attempted to build their own reusable spacecraft from an old shopping trolley? The result was predictably catastrophic, but it was the kind of chaos that viewers couldn't look away from. And who could forget their train challenge where they tried to replace actual train carriages with cars on tracks, turning a simple commuter journey into a series of spectacular derailments. Each episode was an ode to creative destruction, showcasing their flair for taking the mundane and turning it into a combustible spectacle. Whether setting alight a Morris Marina or launching a camper van off a cliff, they reminded us that sometimes the rule book just needs to be thrown out the window, or better yet, blown up entirely. Riding on their reckless abandon and genuine enthusiasm for all things motoring, they didn't just test drive cars, they test drove the audience patience and expectations, resiliency bouncing over potholes and through walls, leaving us in perpetual suspense over what in the world would they demolish next. Pop the popcorn, because the combustion is just about to begin. Picture three motoring maniacs, our very own three musketeers of the modern era, Jeremy Clarkson, Richard Hammond, and James May, not swinging swords, but steering wheels. Their infectious camaraderie and quick-witted banter turned them into legends. Clarkson, with his towering presence and acerbic wit, was the provocateur. Hammond, or Hamster as affectionately dubbed, brought the energy of a high-speed squirrel on Red Bull. And then there was May, Captain Slow, the calm, collected chap who seemed more at home in a library than a racetrack. Their dynamic was a televised symphony of relentless ribbing, effortless camaraderie, and let's not forget, more than a few unintended, or so they said, car crashes. Each quip, each jest, each eye roll was a peek into a friendship where mutual disdain was just another form of endearment. Clarkson's penchant for hyperbole meshed perfectly with Hammond's good-natured jest and May's dry sarcasm, creating a cocktail of effortless comedy with a side of automotive mayhem. Influence? They've got it in spades. Consider this. They turned a modest car show into a global phenomenon, with more viewers than a UN assembly, probably, but who's counting? Their antics didn't just resonate with car enthusiasts, but with everyone who's ever enjoyed a good laugh at a man accidentally setting himself on fire. These motoring marauders have shifted gears from TV to real-life impact. They've inspired countless imitations, yet none have captured that perfect mix of chaos and charm. Their legacy? It's endless test drives, endless laughs, and endless attempts to master the art of driving without, exploding something. Picture yourself reclining on your sofa, adult beverage in hand, and a bowl of popcorn by your side. Suddenly, the familiar sounds of roaring engines and raucous laughter fill your living room. Yes, it's the British trio. Their legacy stretches far beyond the confines of your TV screen. Their presence in pop culture is like that spicy sauce that you didn't think you needed, but now you can't live without. They aren't just remembered, they're immortalized. From memes that flood social media to references in blockbuster movies, they've crawled deep into the cultural psyche. Any car enthusiast worth their exhaust manifold drops their name like confetti at a New Year's Eve bash. Their ripples didn't just stop at TV screens and social media timelines. Auto shows across the globe have been hilariously and ingeniously revolutionized. Imagine the usual drudgery of a car show. Now, add a smattering of this trio's whimsy. Suddenly, it's a circus where metal clowns entertain and engines perform jaw-dropping feats. Every auto show tries to rekindle some of their magic, but let's be honest, it's like trying to replicate Grandma's secret cookie recipe. It just never tastes the same. The unending road of their impact is paved with more than just tire marks. It's littered with unforgettable moments and unmistakable influence. New car review shows pop up like mushrooms after a rainstorm, each hoping to capture even a fraction of their bravado. But catching that light in a bottle again, it's like chasing unicorns, magical but improbable. The profound sound of laughter intermingled with the distinct roar of finely tuned engines sums up the essence of the British trio's unmatched journey. No, they weren't superheroes in capes, though picture that for a laugh, but their antics on four wheels left an indelible mark on our hearts and exhaust notes on our ears. As they celebrated the curves of every track and the quirks of every vehicle, they offered us more than just car reviews. They gifted us a legacy of entertainment, mischief, and unmistakable charm. As our journey comes to an end, let's accelerate past the finish line without stalling on the emotional impact and undeniable significance they leave in their wake. From the pop culture zeitgeist to transformative auto shows, their essence roars on, giving enthusiasts worldwide that familiar jolt of excitement. Their presence in history is cemented not just on the television screen, but in the DNA of every modern automotive show globally. Every drift, every witty remark, every explosion echoes through automotive culture today. As we reflect on their unparalleled journey, it's evident that their legacy stretches far beyond the confines of the television screen, embedding itself in the very fabric of automotive culture and shared human experience. The adventures may have concluded, but the impact remains, resonating like the sweetest engine note long after the ignition has been turned off. Thanks for watching.